Hi, and thank you for watching TargetedWest.com. This is DJ Chris. You're watching the podcast about the Fourth Industrial Revolution, about targeting, V2K, telepathy, and dreams. Things are just out of the ordinary. I'm an ordinary old retired citizen, and basically, I am here to present different stories and such. It's now 104 degrees in Lodi. Today we have Sandra Williams. This is show 118, believe it or not. It's 6:23. She has a website called ishallbloom.com, and she's with me tonight, but she is having technical problems, so I don't know if she'll be on the mic or not. But are you there, Sandra?
Yes, I am. I see Q&A. I'm here. Let's see.
Yeah, there I see you. You're back on video. So how are you today? You've been targeted for a while and want to tell your story. And besides hosting videos for others, you have your own story to tell, which I wanted to let people know about.
Can you hear? Gonna try again.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself. You have yourself muted. Okay,
Hello.
are you there? There you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sandra.
Well, my name is Sandra Williams, and I am the host of the I Shall Bloom show. I can't see myself, but I guess you guys can see me. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, and I can see you, yes.
And you can see me? Okay. I thank you, DJ Chris, for allowing me to come on your #1 show to tell my story. I know we all have a story about this horrific crime, this horrific program called Targeted Individual MK Ultra Counterintelligence Program. It's horrific. So I'll just hop right back. I'll hop right into my story. Again, my name is Sandra Williams, and God has blessed me with a show called I Shall Bloom. It's a ministry. Back I can go back, but now that I've been approached to write a book, because my case, I was falsely accused of a crime. Now, how I made it to the targeted screening database, that I am a spy, of course, falsely. 2018, I'll even go a little further than that. 2015, I married, which was, now that I'm learning about mind control and all that, I married someone I had no business marrying. He proposed to me while he was married. I told him, yeah, I'll just start there because it's mind control, and then it's all of these, they mess with your relationships, put you in situations where your character is tarnished. There was no way in hell in my right mind that I will date a married man. I met him back in 2004, and I dated him. He was my friend. We should have married then, but we didn't. So 2015, we always kept in contact, but in 2011, he got married. So of course, that stopped our friendship. You know, I couldn't call and talk to him as much, but that stopped that. 2011, he was married. 2015, I am not really enjoying, things were happening. I really didn't know why, but I was still working as a nurse. RN, a HEDIS nurse is a traveling nurse that audits doctors. So doctors have to have a report card if they're going to be a part of WellMed, Aetna. They can't be just well, they're criminals too, but they have a report card. And the HEDIS nurse are the nurses that report on the doctors. I was traveling. I was in Oklahoma 2015. I received a call from my then ex saying that he is getting a divorce. He always cared for me, and he wanted to, he said if he ever got a chance to see me again, that he's going to make things right and ask me to marry him. He should have did that back in 2004, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 11. So I said, it's not a good idea. I'm in Oklahoma, but, I'm working. You go back to your wife. You stay with your wife. So I told him that I was in Oklahoma working. I told him what hotel I was, just excited, you know what I mean? Because I always wanted to be a HEDIS nurse. It's hard to be a HEDIS nurse. You can be an RN and you can work the hospitals, but a traveling HEDIS nurse, they hook you up with the best hotels, the best cars traveling, and I enjoyed it. Even though there was something that wasn't right, but I still was enjoying it. I got home from my scheduled work one evening, and who was sitting at the front in the lobby was, and I'll say his name, I'll say Jay. Jay was at the lobby in Oklahoma. He had flew from Texas and came to my hotel and was at the lobby. So he stayed. I left, went back to California because that's where I was from. He went back to Texas. So he kept showing up different places. Long story short, 2015, he asked me to marry him while he was still married. I said yes, which was, I have no idea. I mean, I still don't know, but I do know because it was mind control. So I said yes. He got a divorce. 2015, I married him. It was hell. It was hell. I lost my job I had no reason to lose my job, but they called and they said someone reported that I had unfavorable behavior. I mean, just something that was just so fake. But now I learned that it's a part of the program. Someone called and said that I had stolen someone's husband and got fired. So now I'm in Texas. I came out here. He said, come stay with me. He had moved out of his house and got another house. I moved in there, it was hell every day. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't even get a McDonald's job. So it was hell. 2015, 16, 2017, I couldn't get a job. But one day, a friend of mine that worked at Marriott said that you can answer the phones at Marriott. And I said, okay, I'll do that. Marriott, you answer the phone calls. 100 phone calls, like a minute. You get off one phone call, then I got talked about, cursed out. I didn't know. It was horrible, horrible, worst job. The 3rd of July, 2018, I came home. The house was empty. All I had was clothes and a mattress, an air mattress. He moved out. I forgot to tell you he was a pastor. And I was supposedly a first lady, as they say, pastor and first lady. So he moved out. I called. It was midnight when I got home because I worked a night shift. I called the head pastor, and I said, hey, I'm alone. What's going on? And I cried. He said, I can't talk about it. That's what the head pastor told me. I can't talk about it. So that night, I cried out. I said, God, I can't do this. I'm not going to be able to handle this. What's going on? I don't know how to handle this. I don't want to kill myself. I don't feel that, but Lord, I need you. I cried out. That's July. So I went to church. I sat on the front row and played it off. We played like we were living together. But he went one way and I went one way. Finally, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I received an email, August, saying that we have a position for you again in California, but you need to be here by, this is November 2018. Nope, this is August 2000. You need to be here November. You need to be here by a certain date, and you can take the position. So I had a little time. This is July, late July, August, and I prayed to God. I said, God, I know that I'm a married person. Please help me and tell me what to do. So I didn't wait on God's answer. I immediately moved. I didn't really have much. The stuff I had into storage and moved into the Marriott Hotel. I moved into the Marriott Hotel, not, just, and all the cars that now that I see that do the following, the different one lights and the different this, were in the parking lot. I mean, it was just, and when I walked in there, it was my skin crawled when I walked in the front door, like everybody knew me. I mean, all these faces sitting in the lobby, and the lady, they already had a spot for me and all this. So I'm there. Go back because I just felt like I was being watched. It was the beginning of feeling like I was being watched in my room 24/7, but I didn't know what that was, but I was being watched. I thought I'd leave November 1st. I hit the road because I had to be there by the 7th. So October 31st, Halloween, I went to get something to eat. I came back, and the lady at the front says, "Whoa, this is my favorite holiday. Whoa, the witches are going to have a great time tonight." And I was just like, I don't celebrate Halloween, of course. So I went to my room. I got up the next day, November 1st, 2018, to hit the road to go to California. As I checked out, the guy said, "Enjoy your trip." Now, how did he know that I was going anywhere? So I hit the road, 5 hours driving on the 10. I noticed that the state trooper was following me for about an hour. I wasn't driving fast. I was in a sports car, but I was driving the speed limit. I was in the fast lane. I pulled over and got in the middle lane. And when you're black, I mean, I don't know how, this program now is not even about colors, but when we see cops sometimes, we panic because of the false crimes that happen so much. I didn't panic, but I just said, well, let me get over. As soon as I pulled over in the middle lane, they pulled over and put on their lights. I pulled over. I keep forgetting this part of the story. My license plates were stolen about 2 weeks before that. And a friend of mine said, here's a temporary, he was a dealer. He said, here, put this license plate. You can put it in the window, so when you get to California, you can register your car. Okay. So when the cops pulled me over, the girl came out. She was young, and she looked like she wanted to bust up laughing. So I didn't know. I wanted to laugh, too, because, when you see someone else laughing, you kind of laugh, too. So I'm looking at her, and she says, the reason we stopped you is because your license plate is in the window. I'm just going to give you a warning. And I said, okay, but I thought it was supposed to be in the window because they were stolen, and I didn't have a bracket anymore to put the plate on the front. So she went back to her car. She came back with the warning. I signed it. I sat there for a while before I left. All of a sudden, as I turned my car on, she came running back. "Oh, wait, do you know you have a warrant?" I said, "No, I don't have a warrant. I'm a HEDIS nurse, and they've already checked my background and everything, and I don't have a warrant." As I'm speaking, the tow truck is there, pulling up. She was like, "Well, do you want anything out of your car?" I'm like, "What do you mean? I want everything. I want everything." She's like, "You got to get out of your car." Can you hear me? Can you hear? Okay. Okay. So I get out of my car. The tow truck is pulling up, to the front of my car. I go to the car, to the state trooper car, and I sit down, and I sit in the state trooper car. There's a man in the back seat, turned, but he did not look at me, or he didn't move. His back stayed to me in this truck, this black SUV trooper car. He never turned around. So I got on my cell phone, and they said that I had a warrant out of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is where I went to college, and Pennsylvania is where I was a successful real estate investor and dated another real estate person who built homes. So I called in the car, on the phone, I called the sheriff, and I told them what was going on. I said I told that I had a warrant, and can you check, because I don't. He checked, he said, no. Where are you calling from? I said, I'm calling from the cop car. He laughed, he's like, you're not supposed to be on your phone. So she came, she was outside arguing with someone, saying, the tow truck is already here, but I guess I can take her to her car. I can hear her on her cell phone having an argument with whoever she was on her phone. So she comes back, and we're sitting in the car. I got off the phone, and I said, well, the sheriff said there's no warrant. So we're both sitting there. All of a sudden, her phone rang again, and then she says, it's a go. That's when she said, you are under arrest. You have a warrant. This is now that I know. I was in Crockett County, Texas. A couple of months ago, and not even a month ago before that, a young lady named Sandra was killed in a situation like this. The cop killed her. So I'm driving. We're driving. They're driving me. And mind you, there's a man in the back that's never turned his head. So I go to Crockett County Jail, and when I get inside the building, they're clapping. That was her first case, I guess. And they said, you got the big fish. You got the big fish. They're all clapping. So she led me back. The other cop lady led me back to the jail, rusty, nasty jail cell. And they all partied and clapped and talked about me, the big fish. So I sat there and I was praying, Lord, I'm sorry, whatever I've done, everything that I've been doing, I apologize, Lord, please help me. Don't leave me here. The jail was rusted. She finally came in after the youngster had left in her group. They left, and another cop lady came in and gave me an orange outfit. The orange outfit had to be, it was huge, like a bubble. Like, I don't know, like 300-pound man. It had brown stains in the crotch, in the under armpit, and white crust in the crotch. And she threw that at me and said, get undressed. And I was like, wait a minute, that is how you talk, get undressed. So I got undressed, bent over and stuff, and then I put the orange nasty outfit on. Sat there on the jail cell until she led me to the back. And there was another girl, I think she was coming off her drugs or coming down off her drugs, but she was itching and scratching. There was only 2 of us in there, and it had to be about 12 rusty, nasty cells, and they were all open. Still, the toilets were full with VM. I had to use the restroom, so I'm running to each one to try to find a place to go to use the restroom. But they were all full. So I had to use the restroom. And I had to use it. So I went back to where they had me, and I was awakened in my sleep. I was crying. I remember crying, and she says, you were crying in your sleep. This was another cop lady. And I said, I woke up and I realized, wait a minute, oh my God, this is not a dream. Oh. And so she said, you were crying in your sleep are you hungry? And I said, yeah. And she said, I'll go get you a salad. Like now, how did you know I ate salads every day? But she already knew what I liked, and she left, and she came back and got me a salad. And after that, I woke up again, and Judge Deaton, they called his name Williams, and said the judge is here because the bail cells were all open. It wasn't closed then. They were just open, rusty, old cells. I went and I met with Judge Deaton, and he told me that we can only hold you 10 days. And if they don't come get you, we got to let you go. And I'm like, well, I need to call. I have a job. I need to call. I need to use the phone. He said, they're going to let you do all that. I hadn't used the phones yet. So I signed a document saying that I'm going to stay here at this little this nasty place, thinking that I'm going to be able to make some phone calls, get bail. So I signed the documents. He left. When he left, they let me out of this little room to meet him, and I looked on the board, and it says, no bail, runner. So I was just still in a maze, just walking. So I walked back to the room, to the jail, the other jail, and I hear, William! And the door, the gates were open, the cells were open. So I walked. The other girl was gone. So it was just me in the whole place, dirty, nasty place. I walked to the front. He said, you're leaving. And I said, what do you mean? No, the judge said, I haven't made a phone call. I haven't made a phone call yet. I want to get bail. I haven't called my family. And I said, the judge says that I'm going to stay here. And he goes, he don't know what he's talking about. You mine now, nigga. And
I am so sorry.
that's when it got real. That I realized I have been floating, I guess. And every time I hear this story again, it takes me back. And they came and they got me and drove me an hour into the woods with oil wells, just a whole bunch of oil wells. I didn't know where I was going. So about an hour, another place opened up in the woods, and it was another jail place. Now that I know what it is, it was Upton, Texas, real country town. And I get there, and the ladies were like, I don't know, they wanted me to be there. Like they were so happy that I was coming. I mean, it was just creepy. So of course I was hungry. So we get there, they had the food, they were bringing the plates out and all that. So they had one with my name on it, and I ate it and immediately threw up. I don't know if you ever threw up to bile before, where you have no more to throw up. I threw it up, and whatever it was encased in a little sheath. It never touched my body or was able to be absorbed, because I knew it was God that protected me. It was in a sheath. And so I realized, oh shoot, I'm hated. I never saw hate before until that day. I know earlier the cop screamed and called me the N-word, but to see hate in your eyes, in someone's eyes, is different. So I sat there, and the two ladies were scratching and itching and, whatever that was all about. But a pastor was coming through, and the cop was saying, does anybody want, I was real sick because I was just growing up, so I had really not that much strength. But I heard the walk, and then the cop saying, does anyone want to see the pastor? He's on his way. And I said, I couldn't talk loud because I was so sick of throwing up. But he's like, they were like, no, we don't want to see him. No, they were screaming, no, we don't want to see the pastor. No. And he said, wait a minute, I heard somebody. Someone said they wanted to see me. And he came, and I looked at people, and he said, you prayed before you left, but you didn't wait on God. But you're going to be okay. You're going to go through some things, but God is going to protect you. And left. So that was day number 2. Remember, the paperwork I signed, I only supposed to have been in the first jail. I guess, everything changed, but for 10 days. I tried to use the phone. It never worked. They got on the phone. They talked to their family. I got on the phone. It never worked. I called the front. She said, you educated. You don't know how to use a damn phone. And they're all laughing. November 18th, I got awakened. Williams, they're here. Williams, they're here. I got up. Yeah. And he said, I can lose my job, but I want you to use this phone, use my cell phone, and call your family because you got to call your family. They're here to take you to Pennsylvania. So I used his phone. I called my brother, who worked he was Border Patrol and the federal government before as well, retired. And I told him I'm in Texas somewhere, and I'm being taken to Pennsylvania. So I left. I put my clothes on. I had my jail, the same clothes that I wore that I was leaving to go to California in. I had on go-go boots. I don't know why I had boots on, but thank God I did. I had chains around my ankles, and I had chains around my wrists. And I got in the van. I got in the van and I prayed because I don't know what was getting ready to happen. But I prayed and I said, God, please help me and please protect me. I cried and I prayed. And once we got to San Antonio, all the way back where I left, we had to go to San Antonio jail to pick up other people. And that's when the lady turned around and said, I'm going to move you from back there and put you up with us because we're picking up criminals. So they moved me and put me in the second back seat and picked up men from jail. I stopped in every state that they stopped in for their arrest. Now that I know, street theater. I stopped at each different jail in each state, Tennessee, whatever the state was to get to Pennsylvania, I stopped. When I made it to Ohio, they would ask me, I was so embarrassed, so humiliated. I'm the first person in my family genealogy to go to prison. So I was embarrassed, shamed, and so they said, well, where do you want to use the restroom at? Because I have to go. I'm like, I want to go to McDonald's because I got chains and shackles and everything on. It's embarrassing. They said, well, you can go to the ones on the side of the park and rides, on the freeway when you park and those things. I stopped there. All of a sudden, it got packed to the hills. Everything was just getting packed now that I know what that is now, but I didn't know what it was. Parking lots would be empty, and within 10 minutes, it was like 50 cars would be there. Like I was the showcase of me walking out with these chains and shackles and all that on. So we made it to, I think, New York, on the edge part of New York. There was a honky-tonk and that's not even the right, I don't know if that's right, but it was a country bar type. My mom and dad, they said honky tonk band. And one of the cops stood in front of me, and one of them stood because they were trying to hide the chain. I got to the bathroom, nobody was in there. All of a sudden, a little girl came in there. She saw me with the go-go boots on and the chains and the shackles, and she said, "Mama, I want to go to jail. Look how she's up." And I just like, oh my God. So I made it to Pennsylvania. We get there, I walk through the door, and they were clapping. "You must be famous. They called us every day to come get you, but we didn't. They brought you to us." The worst prison, supposedly in Pennsylvania, I was there, women's prison, where women who were serving 25 to life or life prison sentence, I was there for fraud. That was the name. The first case was fraud. I was arraigned there. I got checked into this prison, and then they called me a couple of hours later to go to court, to go to the court and be arraigned. I get a call that says, "Williams, your lawyer's here." I didn't have a lawyer yet. I just got there. And lo and behold, it was the cop from 2011 that wanted one of my properties and told me he'd see me again. He was there. He told them that he was my lawyer and got me out of prison. Got me out and took me downtown with him, and he said that he can make it all go away. And I talked to myself and said, do not go off. This man is crazy. Shut up and tell him, take you back. So I was shut up, and I said, take me back. I went back to the prison. They said they needed 2 houses for me to get bail, 2 California homes, and that's when I said no. No, my family was like, we're going to give them no. I said no, no, there's something wrong. There's something wrong here, and no, I have hope. God is going to get me out of this. I do not want you guys to put your houses up. No. This is November. Thanksgiving came. Christmas came. New Year's came. January, New Year's. Spring came. He never showed up for court. I stayed in jail until the judge went on vacation, came back. I had a district attorney. He got married. The public defender. He got married and went on a cruise. I sat there until one day the judge saw me, realized I was still there, and called all the district attorneys and said, what is going on? What is she here for? And threw it out. I was without a job.
Wow.
Without a job. I lost my job. Of course, my husband divorced me because he couldn't date a woman that's been in prison. And, see, I didn't know anything about being on the terrorist list. I didn't know anything about this. So churches, if they have a 501c3, anything that they're going to be using money from the federal government, couldn't be involved with me. So he was told to divorce me, and he did. So I came home to a shelter in Texas with 35 cents in my pocket. 35 cents. And still with hope. Still had this little degree of hope that something's wrong. Yes, that something's not right. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt something is wrong. I was sitting in the shelter. They have all types. The shelter that I went to is a woman's shelter, so they have all these different training programs. I went in there and I was checking. I don't know why I was checking my email, but there was an email that says, please print this out. It will disappear in 15 minutes. 5 months in prison. I know we're going to ask questions. I'm reading the thing. I was embarrassed because I didn't want the shelter to know which I'm sure they already knew, what I was, just got out of prison and all that. And I finally I needed to print those forms out because they said, you have to print those out or it's going to disappear, this email. I printed out the email, the forms. I didn't look at them. And then about a couple of days later, I just started looking through the forms. They were my records from the courts from Texas. And the case had been changed from theft, fraud, to theft, seller of trade secrets, espionage. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what a trade secret was. I mean, it still didn't hit me then, but I was like, wow. It was changed from that prison, the first one I went to, Crockett County, to the second one where I stayed all those days. It was changed there to this espionage, seller of trade secrets, which is a terrorist. It was changed there. So I'm looking at all this stuff. I finally just typed it in just to see what it was, and that's when I realized, oh, shoot, it scared me. I'm a terrorist? Oh, they got me. I'm a terrorist. I didn't know what. I thought they were going to come and kill me. That I thought I was on the hit list, because I went back to the email and it was gone, that I have my records. So they let me, normally you can't sleep, you sleep for, you have to get up and do some type of training, but they let me sleep for a couple of days. And I checked my email again, and it was a job. They're saying, we're looking for you. We don't know, but we have a position opening in Texas. And if you're in Texas, give this person a call because they need help. This is January before 2019. Because I had been in a shelter from August. I got out in August of 2019. So, yes, I get days get mixed, and so I got the email to start in January 2019, and start in December 2019, and we know the world shut down in 20. So I got the email, and I'm like, yes, I'm here. I'm in Texas. I called them. I got the job. It's going to be a remote job. Remember, I live in a shelter. So now I'm making RN money on a laptop. And see, this is how God can turn things around, even in your adversity. And, he says he prepares a table in front of thy enemies. So I got the email, the first paperwork, I was devastated, like my life is over. Then I got another email offering me a job. I had someone drive me. They let me go to Austin to pick up my laptop to training. I trained there. So I was doing the same thing that I was doing, but this time remotely. So I'm working in the shelter. I'm saving my money. I end up buying a car. Then, of course, the head of the shelter wanted me to do an interview about my shelter life. And I did that for him, and then she said that I have to go. I'm making too much money for the place, but wherever you go, we'll pay for it for a whole year. So I left the shelter, working remotely, and I found a place in Stone Oak, Texas, which is a higher end area because they're going to pay for it for a year. Why not? I was due to move into my place another July 3rd again. Now, last July 3rd, 2018, my husband had left me. I came home to an empty house. So now, July 3rd, 2020, I'm moving into my place. and I was supposed to move into the townhome was going to be 111. Once the day of the move, they decided, oh, you can't move in this one. We're sorry. They moved me to another townhome, which I was happy. But this townhome had a closet that had it didn't have shelves in it. It didn't have a place where you hang things. It was just a mysterious closet. I was just like, man, well, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? So at nighttime, it felt like that closet was opening up. I moved now. I'd moved, and things were happening. I caught COVID. My food was missing. I was throwing up poison. My house was being broken into. I was going to church. I realized the following cars, the same ones that I lived in the gated community, but the gate was always broken. And I'd have a line of people coming in as I come in and as I leave. The same thing was happening. And I started realizing, and the cop that lived next door to me and the guy that works for the post office lived next to me. So we had the same last name. So my mail he'd always knock on the door because my mail was going to him. It was always open too, right? So I get a knock at the door. I don't even go into that. I get a knock at the door one day, and the lady says, I had built my credit up. Things were going good for me. I went from 400 to 700. I'm getting ready to buy a house. Things are good. I got money in the bank. I'm just feeling so good. I get a knock at the door. You're not out yet? I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I've already rented this place out, and if you're not out, I'm going to mess up your credit. And I had power again. My credit was my power, I felt, And I had a guy friend there who was here, who I ended up marrying now, said, don't worry about that. You can move. I have a 3-bedroom house. You can move into my place until you buy your own. So I moved to his place, and I have a quota for HEDIS auditing. We have a quota of 250 audits per 8 hours. After a while, I couldn't even do 8. I was like passing out. I didn't know what it was. I was passing out. My manager moved up. And of course, whenever the old people move, we know what's coming in. Now that I know the system, we know who's coming to take their place. The perks are. So every day, oh, we're going to have a meeting Friday. You didn't make quota. You didn't do this. Always something coming for my license. So I resigned. I had another lady that came, one of my husband now friends, said, you have a story. I'm going to introduce you to a DJ who has his own radio station, WSAN, and maybe you can tell your story. And I'm like, I'm not telling my story. I don't want anybody to know about this. I end up telling my story. He says that he needed an intern. So I said, okay, I can help you. I had nothing to do. I didn't know anything about being an intern, anything about the radio station, but I became the intern. I had money in the bank. He decided that he didn't want to work in his house anymore. He needed all this equipment, and I was gung-ho. So I went spending money for this. He wants this. He needs these speakers. He needs the best of this, the best. And I'm spending, and then all of a sudden, we fell out. And I got all this equipment. We moved into a building, and we got into it that same week. He left with all the stuff that he wanted, and I'm left in the building that I am in now. But someone came right away. His name is Cedric Fisher. He says, God has blessed you with this. You have a story. You going to have a talk show, and if you get this person, I'm going to give you this person's name, and if he says yes to you, I'll produce your show. What's the name of it? I forgot to say, in the 2020, I went to get my real estate license, and I was driving to go take my test because the world was shut down, so they needed a proctor. So one of the proctors, which was a Burke, drove from Austin to test me. But as I was driving, I said, man, this is desolate. The world is desolate. And I heard in my spirit, you shall bloom. And I'm like, I shall bloom. You know, because I'm going to real estate school, so I'm thinking that's what that's going to be for. I'm like, oh, so I went to church the next day, and I'm like, Pastor, can you pray? God gave me the name, I shall bloom. And he prayed with me and prayed with me. And so back to when Cedric said, do you have a name of your talk show? And I said, yes, I shall bloom. And that's how I shall bloom started.
That's amazing. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's ishallbloom.com is her website. Please check it out if you're watching this on your favorite platform. What an incredible story. Would you like to go to Q&A mode to have people ask you questions?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I wasn't long.
No, you weren't. Let's see, we'll switch modes. That was a great testimony. I'm glad you're here. We'll have you back again another time, of course. I'm going to mute everybody, and then if they want to ask you a question, they can do *6. So here we go. Okay, we're talking with our guest, and we have a microphone that's available to you. So please come in and ask a question to Sandra Williams. Hello, come on in here on the Targeted West show.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Ms. Williams. Thank you for sharing your story. The first thing I wanted to say was your experiences in Texas confirm what I think of Texas. And as a TI, I'd be afraid to even pass through there. And the other thing I want to say, that judge who threw it out must have been in God's pocket. But also I want to say that when the judge saw you still there and threw it out, part of me wanted to say, well, I wonder what they told him that they threw it out. Because he's not going to throw out, if you are a real terrorist, and we know we all get accused of all kinds of horrible things, so we know you're not a terrorist, and yeah, so it makes me wonder what they told the judge when he said, why is she still here? So anyway, that's it. Thank you.
You can *6, or I'll *6 you for you. Sandra Williams. There you are, Sandra. Go ahead and answer if you'd like.
Oh, yes, I agree. I'm remarried again, but there is no way that I would be here in Texas. Texas is terrible with the targeting and with the do and with the eyes closed, the blinders, like they're in denial. Nobody wants to talk about it. And it's major. NASA's here. It's major. So, yes.
So you're talking about having a book. Tell us more about this book. I have a question. That's my question. Are you planning on doing a book in the next year?
Yes. The Cedric Fisher is the producer. He's produced the I Shall Bloom show. And he wants me to write a book about being accused of a terrorist and the seller of trade secrets. So he really wants to talk about that, and is going to shine the light on this secret crime that we're all involved in, against our will. So I am going to produce that.
Very good, because I operate a book club, and I'll definitely feature your book at the book club. Yeah. We have 157 members and growing, and we'll definitely be buying copies of it. When you're ready, let me know, please. Anybody
Thank
got
you.
questions? No worries. Anybody have questions for Sandra? Come on in, please.
Hi.
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 Was there ever really a warrant, or was that all just fabricated and nobody even produced the warrant?
It was never produced. It was, as I looked at the paperwork, his paperwork, it was probably a paragraph long. His, I guess, report to make a warrant was about a paragraph. I have all the documentation where it was switched over. Judge Deaton, who the first judge, retired, and all of the new group, all of the people that work with him in that county are gone. There's a new judge there named Frank Tambunga, and Frank said, I suggest you get your lawyers together. He said, they held you 18 days. We don't know why. We don't know why they changed the case, but it wasn't on my shift, so I suggest you get your lawyers together. Now, we know that's hard, too, with the lawyers, because no one wants to do this. No one wants to touch that. And it's open and shut. The case is so open and a shut case, but to get a lawyer to go against the FBI's and CIA's, and so that's why I applaud Targeted Justice, Anatolia, and, you know, all of them, Lighthouse and all of that. I'm part of that, so I applaud that. But he said, get them together.
Very good. Next question for Sandra Williams.
Hi, Sandra. This is Laura. Can you hear me?
Laura, come on in.
Hi. I appreciate your testimony today. Thank you so much. I've also experienced, I don't know if you coined this term, but mind control marriage. I'd like you to elaborate a little bit on that. And I had the same experience of being arrested and then released, except they called me Anglo Girl, and I didn't understand exactly why anything was happening and what I was being arrested for. So thank you for telling your story. I appreciate it. And maybe you could elaborate a little bit on the mind control marriage, what you were thinking. I go over it in my head myself. What was I actually thinking? And I'm from Colorado, so if you do attend the TJ rally here this year, let me know. I'll be here.
I will. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Like I said before when I talked about being with a married man and dating a married man, I mean, it's something, it's so out of my character. There was no way I didn't even, you know, I wasn't interested in him like that. But he showed up, and still I would have said, go back. But it was just like it was planned that he come into my life again. And, it was just chaos. It was never any good out of it. It was straight chaos from the beginning because that was made to be that way. And then when he left, the 3rd of July, when I came home, and everything was gone because he was told it was time to leave by the head pastor. So I was always looking at myself like, what are you doing? But still in it. So I don't know if that makes sense, Laura. Out of mind, out of body, but looking down at yourself saying, what are you doing? So.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. And do you mind if we play a quick commercial for Targeted Justice right now? Just a quick one before we continue questions with Sandra. Hold on.
Attention targeted individuals. Don't miss the largest TI awareness event ever organized, the Targeted Action 2024 rally in Colorado Springs, hosted by Targeted Justice. This incredible event starts on Wednesday, August 28th, and spans 2 days with an optional 3rd day. On day 1, we have the Brotherly Love TI Meetup. The theme is Plan for Peace, a chance to connect, share, and envision a peaceful future together. Then on TI World Day, August 29th, the action begins. First, we'll distribute awareness flyers at key locations during the Targeted Action 2024 Morning Awareness event, followed by a powerful rally. In the afternoon, we'll unwind and strengthen our bonds at the Surviving and Thriving TI Cookout. Registration is just $25, a small price to pay to be part of this historic event. Show your support by purchasing exclusive Targeted Action 2024 merchandise. For more details and to sign up, visit the Targeted Action 2024 tab at targetedjustice.com or the TI Rallies section at tievents.org. We'll see you in Colorado for Targeted Action 2024.
And I will unfortunately not be able to go, but I will be here in my RV doing my work. More questions for Sandra, please, before we wrap this up and go to the book club.
I had a question for Sandra.
Come on in.
Hi, Sandra. It's Christina.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for telling your story today. I find it so interesting what happened to you. And the reason I do is because you had such a heavy police involvement in your targeting. When I listen to your story, I feel like we had similar experiences, although police were not involved. I wasn't charged with a crime, but I was definitely set up with a crime. And that crime never took place because I wrestled what I thought at that time was a demon. When you speak about the husband that you married and you say you believe that you were under mind control, I also feel that this is this program. Before they wake us up with the microwave weapons and the auditory V2K, I think we have the synthetic telepathy. And what my V2K says is that they are testing me, but I don't feel that it's testing. My question for you is, when you look back on your life before you married this fellow and before you were charged with this crime, do you recall fighting that demon and what that personality structure was like? And now that that's over, so I got two questions. That question, if you remember what that was like, fighting that internal force that was leading you astray. Now that you are targeted, what do you think of this Satan program? I've heard it called many things, but that is one name that they do call it through the U.S. military, or the voice of God. What do you think of it in our society at large? And do you feel that it is a movement that we can't turn around, or that we can turn around as individuals?
Well, of course, it's definitely with the program, this whole thing, it brought me closer to God. When I was married to the pastor, it was false. Everything about him was crooked and wicked, but he was reading the Bible. And so I would say, you couldn't, he would be frowned reading the Bible. So I was like, well, how can you read the Bible and look like that? He was always enraged, always. He had jaundiced eyes, monster eyes, and it just was so contradictory of reading the Word. But in that scenario, I got closer to the Word. I grew up in church and all that, but, I grew up in church and seen a lot of things. I always thought it was fake, whatever. But in this process, I had to develop my own relationship with God. And, of course, this is the battle of good and evil, darkness and light, for real. So, it is. Your discernment becomes so sensitive that you can, I know when perps are behind me. I know when they're on the side of me. It's just like I'm walking. We're sensitive now, and I'm walking in, and I can feel their spirit. They want it. They're sucking. That's how I can describe it, is just wanting our light to suck it dry, and then hating you because you have it.
Gotcha. Well, we're coming up to 7 o'clock, which is the end of our interview. I do want to thank you for dropping by. Sandra, would you like to come back again?
Yes, I will love to come back. I thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much.
No worries. We'll do the quick book club, and then you'll be here for a few more minutes in case someone has an extra question to ask.
Sure.
Okay, that'd be nice if you could do that. The book club tonight is about tranquility from tievents.org. She has a brand new book out called TI Meetup Mastery. It's in the book club this week. It was published in 2024. We gave it a 10. It was the perfect book for meeting people in the targeted community and getting together and making groups outside of these conference calls, in-person groups, in-person meetings and rallies and events, and getting the word out. So this is a must read, and it is available on Amazon right now at amazon.com. Just type in TI Meetup Mastery with Tranquility Adelaide. So congratulations to Tranquility for that. Isn't that great?
Yes. Thank you, Tranquility, Angel.
Absolutely perfect.
That was a chat.
I just need to answer. Yeah, so does anybody have a question for Sandra? I'm going to turn the recording off, and if you're watching this on your favorite platform, please subscribe, like, and make a comment. We appreciate everything you say on BitChute, YouTube, archive.org, and Spotify. So please make a comment, tell your friends, and also check out ishallbloom.com, and you can find out more. She's on YouTube, and she's got a whole channel and platform available for you to review. And so I think that would be great. So I'm going to end this recording now. Thank you for watching this video.